Hey, it's day 4 without smoking, and today I'm doing a lot better than yesterday. Now, part of that is traditionally, if you do the research on it, traditionally day 3 is considered to be the worst day for quitting smoking, and the reason is because that's the day where the majority of the nicotine is completely out of your system, and so your body has no reserves to call on. And so that's the day it tends to freak out. They say that late into day 2, on into day 5 is the worst days you'll have. Since it's day 4, traditionally day 3 has been my personal worst day quitting smoking. Today feels really good, and even if it's just a case of it being like a psychological thing, I don't give a shit. I don't care if Hitler walked through my door with a voodoo doll and shoved a cork in its ass and told me I was cured. As long as my brain believes that, totally fine with it. I could give a shit less how it happened. I am still using nicotine gum from time to time to help get me through the really bad parts. So that nicotine is not gone from my system. It's thinned out a lot, more than it was. So I can't say that I'm nicotine free right now, but I don't have the desire to go out on my patio and smoke, which is where we always did before. The other thing is I haven't turned on my coffee maker in like 3 days now. That was a huge thing with me. If you watch my other videos about quitting drinking, you'll know I replaced that drinking with coffee and with tea. The thing about coffee and tea is both of those things with caffeine in them, they make you want to smoke more. Excuse me. You can tell I'm coughing a lot. That day 3 and that day 4, whenever you quit smoking, your lungs start to come back, and it's trying to get rid of all the shit that's in your lungs. So I'm still coughing up shit badly. But anyway, yeah, I don't drink nicotine. I don't drink caffeine like I did because of that reason. It's impossible for me to have a cup of coffee without eventually wanting to light up. So I just avoid it altogether. Since I don't have like an addiction to caffeine, who cares? It's one of the things I enjoy, but I'm not going to allow that to give me any sort of temptation to light up. Another reason I think that I'm in a pretty decent mood is I just did an interview a couple weeks back for Forbes magazine, the online version. And I didn't want to say anything just yet on the forums or Facebook or anything like that, because if it turned out that they read my responses and thought that I sounded like a moron or I was rambly or whatever, that at any moment they could just politely email me and tell me to fuck right off. And so I didn't want to jinx it. But that appeared online today. It's the 3rd part in a series they're doing on Cracked, and they're talking to some of the columnists and some of the regulars from there, and it's a pretty neat interview, because I don't know if they wanted me to try to be funny during the interview, but I did a little bit, but I just answered their questions pretty honestly, and some of those were about addiction, and in fact I think they even linked my very first video on getting sober from this YouTube channel, which I thought was pretty cool. But that's there, and what. I can relate this back to my quitting drinking, in that whenever I quit drinking, I had to find a hobby or something to replace drinking with, because quite frankly, if I didn't find something, I'd go insane. So I picked up writing comedy again, something I'd already done before, but just not on a professional level. And I put all the energy I was using in drinking into that writing, and it's really paid off. I mean, I got really aggressive at it and really put in the work and the time, and now me, a dipshit from the middle of southern Illinois, is being interviewed by Forbes fucking magazine. That's how crazy is that? So yeah, day 4 I'm doing a whole lot better. You can tell there's a difference in my voice. Whenever I speak, I'm not having to search as much for what I'm trying to say. I'm not stuttering over my words quite as much. And that's, my brain basically is not as jello as it was. And that'll get better over time. So one of the things, though, before I go, that I wanted to point out, something I talked to David Wong, senior editor of Cracked. He happens to be he happens to be my best friend. There's something that I talked to him about a while back, and he thought I should bring it up here. And I think it relates to smoking too, or quitting smoking. In that, it's been almost 2.5 years since I've quit drinking, but there are days, even now, where I'll not only get a craving, but I'll get a craving so bad that it feels like I'm back on day one of quitting. Like I could really, if I had the excuse to do it and I didn't have the willpower to stop it, I would be up at a liquor store buying a 12-pack at any given moment. I mean, those hit you out of the blue and they fucking floor you. It's important to recognize that those are there, because if you're not prepared for them, that's what's going to make you relapse. The relapse rate within the first 4 years of quitting drinking is something like 90%. It's the same statistic for smoking, but it's a shorter time frame. Only 10% of people who quit smoking actually make it. So, and I think that's the deal. Every person that I've heard that went back to smoking has been a story just like mine, in which they've quit, they're in the clear for like 3 months, some shit like that, and then out of the blue they start smoking again. And it takes one cigarette, or what you do is you buy one pack, you light up one, but you can't just smoke one, you have to smoke the whole pack, because you just paid $5-6 for a pack. In a bigger city you're paying $7-8 for it. So for whatever reason, the smokers go through the entire pack, and by the time they hit that 20th cigarette, they're like, fuck it, I've screwed up now, I might as well just go ahead and keep smoking. And they do. And that's exactly what happened to me, and exactly what happened to most other people I've known who've relapsed. And I can't let that happen this time. I was in the clear. Man, I was 3 months into it. All I had to do was just fight through that one moment of weakness, and I'd still be not smoking today. Instead of having to start all this shit from scratch and re-go through withdrawal to reach the point that I was before. That's important to recognize. That's incredibly important, because if you don't know that's coming, or you're not educated on it, it's going to take you by surprise and you're going to relapse. So just a heads up, you are going to have those moments for the rest of your life. They get less frequent as time goes on, I can attest to that, but they do not go away. They'll thin out a little bit. But anyway, if any of you don't follow me on Cracked, I'm a columnist for Cracked.com. Feel free to go there and check out some of my work. I write under the name John Cheese. But you can see my interview from Forbes magazine if you go into our forums, go into general discussion. I've got a thread in there that's pretty straightforward, that says I just got interviewed by motherfucking Forbes magazine. So it's a pretty fun little read. So, but anyway, good luck to the people who are quitting smoking, and I'm going to continue making these, because if it worked for me quitting booze, then by God, why not use the same exact thing to try to get myself off of cigarettes? Worth a shot, huh?